Welcome back to Trapani's Choice, episode number 8, part 3 of my 6-part series of most influential comedians. Well, today I've got the one and only Jim Jeffries, one of my all-time favourites. Now, there's no doubt that he would have been on my list. I'm sure if you see any of my material, the way I just talk in general, it's very similar to Jim. The not giving a fuck attitude. I remember once I was actually wearing this jacket on stage, and a guy said to me after my set, he said, "Nick, I love it. When you get on stage, you've got that jacket on, that don't give a fuck attitude, and you just get up there and you just do it with such confidence. And then you get off stage," and he goes, "You're such a nice guy, but the way you are on stage is brilliant, the way you do that." And little did he know, I'm actually an arsehole. I don't know where he got the nice guy from. So I'm actually doing that in my everyday life. But he thinks I'm nice. That's good. I've got a beer for Jim Jeffries because, he doesn't drink as much anymore. But back in the day, he used to drink a lot. And that's my memories of going back to about 2008, I think, is when I really first started getting into Jim. I can't remember who introduced me to him, actually, which is, I've been racking my brain trying to think about how I stumbled across him. And, I can't think of it. But I remember going to, some of his shows back then in Australia, a little small club, bar, wherever it was. There might have been 100, 200 people there at the most, maybe 300. I'm exaggerating a little bit here. There was 10,000 people there. But not many people knew of his material back then. And a lot of people would take their partners, their wives, whatnot, and probably wouldn't tell them what they were in for. And halfway through his set, you'd see people getting out and leaving. And I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I love it. I love that you can be that offensive that half the room find you hysterical and then the other half leaving the room. And this is where I really started to study that aspect of comedy, because my comedy is quite offensive. I like to push the boundaries. But one thing that Jim does very well is always have a message in there for you as well. So although it's offensive, it might be against religion, it might be misogynistic, there is a message there. And you got to remember, guys, these are jokes, all right? So just the things that we say on stage doesn't mean we actually believe them. We just think that they're funny. It's a funny topic to talk about, laugh about, and that's what he does so well. He also is one of the greatest storytellers of all time. Now, he didn't start off his career by doing these long stories. They were short jokes and everything like that. And most of us do start like that. But when he really started doing his hour specials is when he started really developing the skill of full long stories, and they are amazing. The way that he can captivate the crowd and feel the emotion and just take you on that journey where for me, I was like in awe, just like, tell me more. I need to hear, I wanted to listen to more of that story. He just does it better than anyone, I think, in my opinion, of the storytelling aspect. Now, I remember being at one of these early shows and he was talking about girls giving blowjobs and he was running through it in such detail, and it was horrible. And, one line that stayed in my mind, he said, "We want you to look up to us and in your eyes show a little bit of pain because we like that." And I remember people getting up at that point, women, and leaving. And I didn't know at that point of his shows what was funnier, is listening to him or the reaction of the crowd was just brilliant, because I can't be shocked. I love shock value comedy. There's nothing that you can say that will offend me, especially when I'm in that mindset of being at a comedy gig or me doing comedy myself. You can't shock me. So it's one thing that I really enjoyed early on. Now that his name's out there and everyone knows who he is, the last time I saw him was at Rod Laver, and there was about 13,000 people there, and everyone knows what they're in for now. Now, I want to bring up a clip for you. Now, I'm not going to play the whole clip like I have in my last videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a very short section of it, and then I'm going to have a little tab where you can click on if you want to watch the rest of the video. And I strongly suggest you do, because these videos are absolutely amazing. Now, it's very hard to just pick a few videos like with the previous comedians and the next ones as well. But I'm just picking out a couple that mean something to me and hopefully hook you into Jim Jefferies. This one, being an atheist myself, I had to put one of his little bits in about religion. This is his bit on religion. I hope you guys enjoy this bit just as much as I do. Check it out.
I don't want to live forever. And the only people who want to live, I'm not worried about dying because I'm an atheist, right? Now, I know that this is a Christian country and I stand up for your right to be religious, but please know that you're wrong, right? Please know that you're living in a fantasy land and that after you die, nothing happens. Stop being a fucking child.
Well, from that bit, I love the confidence. I love the bit where he says, if you're religious, please know that you're wrong. It's just brilliant. It's so clever. And the wording of the stuff that he does is perfect. And, you know, some people, I've heard other people say to me, oh, you know, when Jim started to become famous is when he got knocked out on stage, and then his career took off from there. One, I'm more than happy to take a punch on stage if it means that I'm going to be a famous comedian and to be doing, you know, arenas and sell out shows and have my own talk shows. And really he's, I would say, one of the only Australian comedians to go out there and be as big as he is in the States. He did live in the UK for a while, obviously born in Australia, which is another reason why he's on my list, because this is just another person that is showing or giving hope for Australian comedy, for me personally to say, well, Jim Jefferies did it. He's got the same sort of sense of humor as me, the same outcome of what we want, you know, what I want of my comedy. He's out there doing it. So it's definitely given me that little bit of a push to strive harder for what I want. You know, that bit on religion and everything is great. And I definitely, you know, I touch on a few of these things myself in my comedy, but nothing the way that Jim tells these stories. And there's so many bits on religion and whatnot that he does that are very clever. And I think even if you, you know, there was one bit that he does, and he does this whole drawn out bit of when he goes to Iraq, I think it was, to perform for the soldiers and whatnot. And, you know, they had to kill this Muslim child that was shooting at their helicopter while they were going, and they did all this bit. And then he said something about Christians or Christian religion, and everyone was like, oh, you heard it in the crowd. And he goes, oh, you know, like, it was quite funny that, like, we killed a child, you know, we did this, we did that, but now you're offended that I'm talking how Christian of you. And it's so clever because you're always going to get that reaction from people. And it's just, once again, they're the hidden messages that I love, or the messages that are right in front of you as well, because how can you be okay with those things but not okay with this? It should fall, like, if you're a Christian person, you should be sympathetic to God's people, all of them, no matter what they are. So it's brilliant that he's able to point that out in his act. Now, this next bit that I want to do is quite funny as well, because once again, pushing the boundaries, it's misogynistic, it's talking about lesbians, it's talking about gays. It's, you know, not a lot of people will have the confidence to go out and do something like this. So the fact that he goes out and does it with such confidence and doesn't care who he offends. And you got to remember, guys, you're putting yourself out there when you do this stuff. And it's very easy to write good, clean jokes and, you know, that work well, that are quite simple. But to get out there and do this stuff, you're knowing there's going to be backlash. There's always going to be. I'm prepared for it. He's prepared for it more than anyone. At his last show I went to at Rod Laver, someone yelled out at him in the crowd, And he spent about 15 minutes ripping this guy to shreds, which was brilliant in itself. And it sometimes got a bit much. You started to feel sorry for the guy. But one comment he made was, I'm used to having 13,000 people hate me. I don't think you're ready to deal with it. Now, that's something, people aren't always going to like your stuff. So by putting this out and putting himself out there, it's amazing. So just remember that while you're watching this. I know we watch comedy and we just try and pick out the bits we find funny, but try and picture yourself writing something like this and then going, I'm going to perform this in front of a group of people I don't know will appreciate this kind of joke. So check this next clip out, guys.
I realise that in this economy, tickets for things such as comedy shows aren't that cheap. For men, for women, same price they've always fucking been, aren't they? Women don't pay for things like this. There's women in this room who have no fucking idea how much a ticket for this show costs. No fucking idea. Your husband came home, said, remember we're seeing Jim Jeffries? You said who, and now you're fucking here. Women don't pay. Basically, women are a bunch of cunts. To summarise, women are cunts. See, I don't know if women even know that drinks cost money. You know? Ugly chicks know. If you know that drinks cost money, you're a fucking ugly bitch. But
as a comedian, we have to basically put ourselves in front of everyone. Now, it's hard enough just talking in front of a large group of people, talking at a work presentation, but to be in front of thousands of people, even a couple of hundred, even 20 people. Now, you're not only talking, you're trying to make them laugh. So you have to write a joke and perform that. So it's not like just getting up and just, explaining something, whatnot. You have to be funny. It's one of the hardest things to do. And what we're also doing, what I said was, we're putting ourselves out there. And it's not just a joke. It's everything. Our life has to become the joke, so to speak. So the next bit I'm going to play is just from Conan, actually, where he's explaining a very personal medical condition that he had, and the reason why he had to cancel 2 weeks prior to the Conan show was because of this. But it's quite interesting because this is an insight to, as a performer, what we have to do. Because it's not just the jokes that we're giving. We give up a little bit of our life for you so that you can appreciate it and enjoy it, and we make it a joke. But we are using our life, and I know, well, not everyone. People write specific jokes that are all made up. They're fabricated. But my style of comedy come from stories that actually happened to me. So in my everyday to life, it's about my family. It's about my son. It's about my stepson. These are all things that are personal. Now I'm putting their lives on display as well, along with mine, and it's all to create humor for you. And that's what Jim has done throughout all his acts. He talks about his mum being obese, his father being a homophobe when gay marriage was coming out, his reaction to the joke of the gay marriage. It's everything. It's we're basically doing it all. And then you have partners that he had a kid, little Hank. So he tells stories about Hank, whereas I tell them about Mason. He talks about the mother of Hank and, stories there, then girlfriends that he's had at the time. So we're using our life to basically make you laugh. So you need to appreciate that a little bit as well, I think, when looking at something. And in this next clip, as I said, it's a very personal medical condition where when he ejaculated, blood came out, and he makes it funny, right? And that's the whole point here, is that especially now we need to be having a laugh. And that's why I want to keep on pumping these out for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode and you look over some of Jim's stuff. Now, I don't talk a lot about my wife on here, but main reason is because she doesn't have a sense of humor, so it's very hard to use her. But I actually took her to a Jim Jeffries show. I thought, especially being my partner, like, you know, when you put people to the test of certain things, Jim Jeffries was like a test for her. It was almost like she needed to know who Jim Jeffries was to know who I am, in a way. And I took her to a show. This one was at Margaret Court Arena, and was it Freedom? I think it was one of his specials. And I remember just the horror. I kept looking at her, and she didn't laugh once. And he did this bit, and it was absolutely fantastic. He said, what we're going to do is, after this show, and I think there might have been 5,000-6,000 people there, he said, we're all going to go out to the bar and get a beer on me. And he said, this is not something that's arranged, but there's only 1, 2, 3, maybe 10 security guards and 5,000 of us. What are they going to do to stop us? So we're all going to go out there, we're going to get a free beer, and we're going to come back in here, and we're all going to fuck. And he said, now, the ratio is that there's 3 men to one woman at a Jim Jeffries show. So he says, if there's not enough holes, I have a knife. And I looked at Fiona, and I thought, oh, my God, I can't believe that. And I'm laughing, and I'm looking at her, and she is distraught that someone would even say something as horrible as that on stage. But that's, you know, one thing all the way through is he's never changed the fact that he's always at that line. He's always there pushing the boundaries. And he talks a lot about, in his last special, about people getting upset of stuff 10 years ago. And now he's, the line was here back then. And now you guys have moved the line in of what we can say. So don't get upset of things where I was okay then to say it. And we just have to remember that this is just comedy. And I think the world will be a very sad place if everything becomes so PC that we can't laugh about anything. I think we really need to laugh at ourselves, laugh at our cultures, but be respectful at the same time. This is comedy, and it's about being fun and taking the piss. I love when people make jokes about me. So underneath this video, when I post it on Instagram, please make fun of me as much as you can, because I want everyone to have fun in this environment. You know, what I want to promote here is a family and friends, that we're all together sharing stories. So please bag me out under this post. That would be brilliant. Now, as I was saying, I'm going to play this clip, and I'm going to leave you with this one on Conan. So I'll play the full-length video, or you can click the tab as well to get to it. But just go out, check out Jim Jeffries' material. There's so much to go by. If you don't know who Jim is, well, hopefully I've opened the door for you of a fantastic comedian that you can check out. And you've got so many specials, so much material. You've got the Jim Jeffries show. He's doing a bit of podcasting as well, and he's just a really funny guy, and he's just himself, and it's fucking brilliant. So thank you, Jim, for really helping me become the comedian that I am today. And you can find all my stuff on Instagram at Trapani's Choice. You can also find my podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and all my material and some unplugged stuff is also on YouTube. So check out my channel at Trapani's Choice. And very shortly, we're going to be having all hoodies, t-shirts, hats, everything. I'm also going to be running a bit of a competition that we run analytics on my Instagram page. So the top 5 people who interact the most on my page will be getting free hats. So make sure you guys are liking, you subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's no excuses now. It's very easy. I've explained how to get to it. So check it out, guys. And thanks again, Jim. And check out this clip of when Jim Jeffries is on Conan explaining about his ejaculation problems.
It was about 3 hours, but I couldn't come to the show. I had some issues.
You had some issues, And that never happens, you know. No, seriously, you're a pro.
No, I would have come
And
if
then-
I could have come, and actually that leads me into this story a lot better.
Yeah, I heard there was a medical thing, and
There
I
was,
was like, oh my
there was
God,
a
what
medical
happened?
issue. Okay, so the morning before I was meant to be on your show, the night before I was meant to be on your show, I was masturbating, and when I ejaculated...
Wait a minute, hold
All
it.
the guests do that.
Yeah.
When I ejaculated, blood came out, and I thought, that's not good, right? And then I
Wait a minute, just hold on a second. You can't just launch into this.
There's blood shot out.
This is horrifying. What do you mean?
I was Jackson Pollock painting something. It was just blood just shot out of the end of my penis. And I remember being concerned, but I had to get up early in the morning to do my show. So I was like, I better sleep. Stressful sleep, right? But then when you wake up in the morning, you think, I have to check if this is going to happen again. So I had another wank.
You had another wank, is it called?
That's a hard one to get aroused for, knowing that you might have blood coming out the end of your dick, right? So I did it again. Blood again, Conan. Twice, right? And then over the course of the day before I was meant to be on show, one of my testicles swelled up into the size of a grapefruit. And I thought, best that I don't do Conan's show. Because I couldn't walk. It was like, you ever use like those space hoppers, that blow-up balloon that you hold the two ears when you're a kid?
Yeah.
That's how I looked, but I only had one ear to hold on to.
So you had an inflated testicle.
Inflated's a nice word. An infected testicle.
Oh.
And so I went to the doctors, and the doctors said that I probably had an STD, which I thought was weird because I hadn't had sex with anyone for weeks. And so I did a few tests. Now, over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've had 4 doctors' fingers in my ass, right? Not at once, individually over several different days. And it turned out that I just had a prostate infection, but they thought it might be cancer, so I was very stressed out.
Oh, so you're fine now?
Well, no, my testicle's still a little larger than it should be. I've never been fine. You know what I mean? Like, this whole area looks damaged, right? I also, with the finger...
What do you mean it looks damaged?
I had hemorrhoid surgery I'm telling too much here, but why not? I had hemorrhoid surgery about a year and a half ago, and I had to have like 20 stitches up my colon. So what they did was they put me on like a pyramid pillow like that, so my ass was in the air, and they cut a sheet out, and then they put my face, this is a separate thing, by the way, then they put my face into like a massage hole, and that's one of the times that you don't want to be famous. Right, when someone's about to put stitches in your colon. And just the anaesthetist put the mask on me. As I was passing out, one of the nurses looked down at my face and went, my brother's a big fan of yours. And just... Now, what are the chances that she doesn't go back to her brother and go, I was looking at Jim Jeffries' colon, pretty shoddy job.
Yeah. Okay, so the important thing is you're okay now.
I allegedly, I'm waiting
Are
on
you
more...
taking care of yourself? Why is this all happening to you?
I'm on like 3 courses of antibiotics and the testicles going down, and I have no STDs. I'm like so clean. If anybody, in fact, I'm on so many antibiotics right now. If you have an STD, I think I can have sex with you and kill it.
This is your great line when you go to a bar. It's a great pickup line. I can cure you. I've been worried about you because this is...
Yeah. I'm the Marie Curie of the class.